Hello, this is a short video how I have used my FjellDuken, and I would say that the FjellDuken is quite excellent piece of gear to have with you if you are going, let's say, for a one-day hiking trip or hunting or skiing. Now, FjellDuken is quite excellent as a wind bag, and a wind bag is something that you should definitely have along with you if you are going places where you can be surprised by heavy winds in cold temperatures, so you have easy shelter where you can hide the elements with, well, let's say a couple of seconds of warning time. In that respect, FjellDuken original is quite nice, of course. There isn't a liner, so that's a little bit of a problem, but let's say if you are doing a day trip and you are in the sun and you want to have a break, and if you are in a wind bag setup, the sun will give you additional heat to the bag, so there's no problem. What comes to the temperatures now, I also noticed that I mainly use FjellDuken as a shelter in spring and fall. Also during winter times when I'm one day tripping. But now I usually make a half pyramids because FjellDuken is quite well sized for that. It's 140 centimeters times 280 centimeters, so you get quite nice floor area where a long person like me, who is 190 centimeters, can easily lie down completely straight. Also, half pyramid is well sheltered from the wind from 3 directions, and if you need additional protection, you can always have, let's say, a snow piled in front of the doorway, or have your rucksack and other equipment blocking the doorway. Also, half pyramid is quite easy if you have to set up your mosquito net, because you only have a little bit of an area you have to block from mosquitoes. Now, some people asked in my comments previously that can you use a FjellDuken as a sleeping bag? Yes, you can. Of course, I would not try that. In sub-zero temperatures, I would say that it's plausible if you have enough clothes on. Also, there is a problem of condensation as it's not really breathing material. Now, of course, you could fight the condensation by opening the zippers, but then you would have heat loss, and I would say that the condensation is less than a problem than a heat loss if you are in a survival situation. Now, of course, you could make some kind of a liner, detachable liner, let's say from army surplus poncho liners, if you want additional protection or to fight the condensation. Because if you would have a lining material, the condensation wouldn't be a problem, because it would be between the FjellDuken and the liner. Now, I mostly use FjellDuken as a rain cape or a poncho. Now, of course, I could use a poncho, but I've noticed that the FjellDuken is much better sized for using it with a rucksack. Now, normal ponchos are something like 150 times 200 centimeters, where FjellDuken is 140 times 280. And there's also the difference that you tend to wear FjellDuken differently to the ponchos, where in the ponchos, as you probably will know, the open sides are on the sides, where in the FjellDuken you have the zippers in the front. So it is actually, or the effective length of the garment is bigger than the 140 centimeters. So let's say if you would have a big rucksack like 120 liters like I have, no problem, you can easily have that underneath your rucksack. The FjellDuken normal ponchos would let you be quite exposed to the elements, wind and rain from the behind. So in that aspect, FjellDuken is quite nice. You can also use FjellDuken as some kind of a thermal jacket, I would say, in emergency use, and if you go short hunting trips, because it has the sleeve holes on the sides, and you get the detachable sleeves. You can actually use the detachable sleeves as gaiters if you need to go to wet hay. They are quite good for that, and they are quite good if you want to make your water bottles poor man's thermal bottles. You just have a woolen socket, you put your water bottle inside the sock, and then you slip the whole thing inside the sleeve. The thermal reflecting surface will make sure that the water will keep a little bit warmer, a little bit longer. Now of course you can use the FjellDuken as a wind pack, and wind packs are really handy if you are surprised by heavy winds and cold weather. Let's say if you would be hiking in the mountains or on your skiing trips, so it's much easier to have a wind pack with you readily available instead of starting to set up your tent. Of course, in normal summer times it's not a problem to set up your tent, but in the winter times, if you have 1 meter of snow, well, it might be a little bit tricky and time consuming to set up your tent. So wind pack, why the hell not? The problem, of course, that you don't have a thermal liner. Like I said earlier, you can easily make one, or if you have a thermal clothing, put on your thermal clothing and then use the wind pack, and you are set to go. Of course, the thermal liner would make life quite a lot more easier. You can also use FjellDuken to warm up or dry up your clothes. If, let's say, if you are having a break, you are sweaty, or you've been, well, you got wet from the rain, all you have to do is make a wind pack setup, and then you would have, let's say if you have an extra pot or a kettle, and then you would have these little thermal candles. I don't know what these are called in English, but you have one of these, or you get multiple of these in here, and you just keep your pot inside your hands. Of course, you should be really careful that you don't get your FjellDuken on fire. That would be really bad, but one of these will burn 4 hours. So let's say if you have 30-minute breaks, your candles will have burning periods for 8 breaks, and I would say that the 30 minutes, like if you have 3 of these candles burning for 30 minutes, even in cold temperatures, you will have your clothes quite more dry. And for survival situations, that's a good tip to know, especially if you are making food or having a little bit of a break. It's very important to stay warm, and I would say that the candles is the best way to stay warm. Of course, the other way would be that you would have your thermal clothing, or you would have constant movement to generate heat. But hey, you know, these candles, weigh like 10 of these candles will weigh something like 40 grams. It's a no-brainer to use this, but you have to be really careful with when you are using these, because FjellDuken is probably not fireproof. So yeah, no-brainer.